Hi, it's Laura Deckham, Reading 18 Tarot and Books. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. Welcome or welcome back. I am here with a VR to the tag Tarot 7 Connection, which was started by Marilyn from TarotClarity. I was tagged by Krista at Auntie K's Tarot. I will link their videos in the description box below, as well as include the prompts. Tarot 7 Connection, of course, has 7 questions. And this is a kind of tag that I like because I think it's a good one to get to know someone and their practice. I've answered some of these questions, here and there, but they're also, I think, in several cases, types of questions that can change and have changed for me over the course of my time reading. So I think that they're interesting questions to revisit, even if you have answered them before. So if you haven't VR'd to Tarot 7 Connection, do check it out and maybe do VR. The first question is, are there any types of readings you won't do? And why is that? This is precisely one of those questions that I would have answered this, I think, quite differently at different points in my tarot reading life, which is a couple of decades now. I definitely have types of readings that I won't do. I would say, though, that right now there's kind of fewer types of readings that I won't do than ever before. I have definitely opened the kinds of readings that I would do. I mostly, at this point, read for myself. I do way more readings for myself than I do for other people. And in the context of reading for myself, there are definitely a lot of types of health readings that I won't do. I have, a particular confluence of mental health realities, that I experience, and sometimes my particular confluence of mental health realities, come together and manifest as hypochondria, as, scrutinizing my body, as health anxiety, and those kinds of experiences make really clear for me that reading for myself about my own medical issues is not likely to be supportive. It's more likely to maybe aggravate negative feelings or fears that I might be having. So it's just not something that I do. Health-related or medical-related questions are also not questions that I ask when I'm purchasing or getting a reading from another reader. I just don't go there for the time being. That could change, but for the time being, it's not something that I want to touch. In terms of reading for myself and for other people, readings for other people that I won't do, I've never been asked a question that I haven't been willing to read on. It has never come up yet. I think that something that I wouldn't do in terms of a type of reading would be something like a angel connection reading or deity identification or these kinds of things. It's pretty far outside of my wheelhouse as a reader. I think that there are people who specialize in these kinds of readings. I'm not one of them. It is not something that connects to my personal practice or personal kind of religious or philosophical or spiritual outlook. So I just don't think that I'm the reader for those. That's not because of any kind of issue with those kinds of readings as such. They're just not readings that I would do personally at this point. There are also some kinds of readings that, this is a tarot tag. There are some kinds of readings, I think, or some types of questions that were I asked to answer them with tarot, I would do, but I might almost be inclined to suggest to the querent using a different divinatory system. I'm going to get into more of this in question number 6, which asks about other kinds of divinatory tools that we use. But there are types of readings that I think, for me and how I read, I prefer to answer using tools other than tarot. So if someone wanted a reading, there was a straight yes or no question, for example, I think that can be done with tarot. I think that I could do that with tarot. I'm not going to say that I won't do it, but there are other tools I think that are more amenable to yes/no readings, as an example. Question number 2. Is there any tarot card you identify with the most? Which is it? It doesn't necessarily have to be a major arcana. It can be a minor. So I am going to flagrantly, deliberately misinterpret this question and tell you that I identify with the 9 of Pentacles in the Thea's Tarot specifically. So here we have a person, a queer person, on a sofa with a cat reading a book. I would say if I was going to think of one card in my tarot collection that I feel, really I can identify with, this particular card, if there is a tarot deck on the table, that would just be perfect. So this 9 of Pentacles, this 9 of Pentacles in particular, I feel quite strongly aligned with. More, I think, to the point of the question, I will share that definitely the Moon card, not this one in particular, just the Moon card in general, is one that I identify with because my sun sign is Pisces, and the Moon card is, of course, associated with Pisces. I think of the Moon as having to do a lot with, mystery and, perhaps even the speculative, and these are themes that I'm quite interested in. So the Moon is a card that I really like. And also I would say the Lover's card, which is not an answer I always would have given, but the Lover's card is my birth card. And when I first calculated that, way back in the day with probably the Tarot for Yourself workbook, I was not into it. I didn't think that the Lover's card as a birth card, spoke to me. I was not happy. But I think now, especially now that I work with so many decks that are not Pamela Colman Smith's artwork, I can definitely identify more with the aspects of the Lover's card that have to do with choice and ethical choice and learning how to be in good relationship, and these being things that are important to me. So those are some cards that I would say that I identify with. I don't, when I'm reading tarot, use significators. So I don't have a particular court card, for example, that I would use as a significator for myself all the time. Sometimes I do readings where I will choose a significator to represent some aspect of the question, or, might work with the 2 of Swords and look at what's on either side as 2 options, like use different significator cards in that way, but there's not a significator card that I use for myself. Question number 3. Is there any reading that you've ever done that either gave you the chills or impressed you? Don't betray anyone by name or anyone who's easily identifiable. Keep it anonymous. I've had lots of readings for myself that, I'm betraying my own confidence. I've had lots of readings for myself that gave me the chills on lots of different topics over the years. Sometimes the cards just come up and, you don't even have to sit and interpret and think through in a conscious way. They just come up in response to the question that I've asked, and it's like, holy shit, this works, and that kind of experience of that kind of chill of a reading has never gone away for me. More kind of specifically, I would say the experience of reading tarot at Reader's Studio gave me particular kind of chills. It was something that leading up to the event, and it was just in April, I was quite nervous. I had never been in a space like that or at any kind of event like that. And I was meeting, some people for the first time, and I knew that there was going to be components of reading for others and of reading for myself and talking through those interpretations with others. And, that some really kind of amazing, accomplished incredible, tarot practitioners and authors would be there and doing those same activities. And it was such a good experience. It was such a good experience. And I'm glad that I didn't let my nervousness get the best of me, because really, really transformative and so reinvigorating of my practice. So that was a kind of chills experience for me. Question number 4. What is your preferred system of tarot? Why do you like this system best? And the question includes a list. So I struggle with favorites. I am favorite polyamorous, as people who watch my channel know. I started with Smith Waite as a tarot tradition to learn within, as I think many of us probably did. I have spent a fair amount of time with Marseille, and I also really enjoy and work with other kinds of pip decks that aren't Marseille system specifically, but have pip style minor arcana. So those are the ones that I work with. I don't know about a favorite, but if I was going to pick a favorite, I would pick Fancy Pips. So Fancy Pips is not Fancy Pips is not one of the listed options. But for me, Fancy Pips, might be something like the Fifth Spirit Tarot by Charlie Claire Burgess, where you get these minor arcana that are pip-ish, but that have kind of nods to Smith Waite symbolism as well. So I really like this kind of minors. I've heard people call kind of pips plus, pips with feeling. I like Fancy Pips. Another deck that I would say does this in a slightly different way, because it's not so fixed on having the right number of pips necessarily, would be like Tarot Duffomantic. I really like this kind of minors. Photographic decks are a style that I really like, as people know who watch my channel. So these kind of, they're not abstract per se, but they're pip-ish. They're not exactly scenic in the sense of something like a Smith Waite. They definitely have Smith Waite inspiration in there to varying extents depending on the card, but they're also definitely not Marseille. They're something else, which I call it Fancy Pips. So Fancy Pips is my favorite, but I love a wide range of decks, and I love that there are a wide range of tarot decks to work with. Question number 5. Do you prefer doing in-person readings, remote readings, other types of readings, and why? So the only ways that I have read for others are in person or live over Zoom for the most part. I've done, I think, one written reading swap, but I've never done a pre-recorded video reading. I've never done a reading over the phone. So there's definitely, types of options here that I just haven't experienced. In terms of being a querent and, buying or trading for or receiving tarot readings from other people, I have received written readings. I've received video recorded readings. I've had readings in person, of course, and over Zoom or video chat in a live format. I am at a point, and this is not tarot practice specific, I'm at a point where I'm kind of preferring in-person everything. I feel like screen time is a thing that I have struggled with, over the past most recent number of years, as I know many of us have, for various reasons. I feel like a career change I made a couple of years ago involved, moving into a lot more screen time than I was used to. And so right now, doing things like, sitting in front of a laptop or something and doing a reading, it isn't as appealing to me. But that's not because the type of reading is less appealing to me. It's because I just want to be outside. And I want to be, with people to a certain extent. So in person is something that I'm really enjoying. I do think I would like to do written readings though. I haven't really done many. I think I did one once. And it was like a 1-card written reading swap. I think I would enjoy doing a written tarot reading actually. Maybe that's something I should try. I'll put it on the list. I really like reading in person though. And reading on Zoom is fun. Reading on Zoom to me feels a lot like reading in person, but you can share readings and swap readings with tarot friends who live not near you, right? So I do like that as well, but I really like in person. Question number 6 is, besides tarot, are there any other oracular systems you enjoy using? Which ones and why? Oh, are there ever? I have a little stack here to share with you. I love learning about and exploring and getting to know and getting proficient in different divinatory systems. This is something that I have always enjoyed, I think, since tarot became a part of my life. I do think of studying things as a fun pastime. So I tend to like to take classes. I like to read books about different things, and divinatory systems are one of those. So there's quite a few here. One I think that maybe most of us, or many of us, the most of us will have in common. I like oracle decks. This is the Tree Whisper by Mags Black. This is the Secret Garden, the summer one. This is just what was on my table when I got organized to film this video. I like oracle decks because they have such a wide range, because they can really be anything. And this is I think also why I struggle with oracle decks. I got into oracle much later than tarot, and I started with kind of one deck, and I only had that one oracle deck for over a year before I got a second one. I'm quite picky with oracle decks. But I like the freedom of an oracle deck. I like working with oracle decks that are animal decks. I like working with oracle decks with astronomical or astrological themes. I like all kinds of themes, and oracle decks bring a diversity in that way that I really enjoy, and I think that they're a good complement to tarot and to other systems. I like the wide range of artwork that oracle decks include, so that's why I like those. I love Ogham, and I made my own Ogham deck when I was learning. I made the Ogham deck that I wished was in publication, so one that has imagery of the tree Ogham and also keywords that make sense and speak to the poetic Ogham, the word Ogham, and not just the tree associations. So that is a system that I love, and I love Ogham for, Ogham feels ancestral. Ogham, connects to my druidry practice in ways that I really appreciate. Ogham are beautiful to use in magical workings of different kinds. Of course, I love trees, to no one's surprise, so I love working with Ogham. And I do also work with, I haven't shown all of my Ogham tools before, but I also have Ogham staves that are made each of the type of wood that is associated with that tree, or that is that tree rather. So each Ogham fid is associated with a tree, and in this particular set, each one is made of the tree in a sustainable way, of course. That is that tree. So these are really rough. There's moss on them, and not moss, but yeah, the bark is rough, and these are just magical to use. So I love I love Ogam. I work with dice. These are the dice that I use for the Elemental Divination Dice Oracle, which is a book by Stephen Ball. But I use dice in different ways, but I just really like that particular book. So I do use dice. I like them because they're clear. I like them because you can work with different kinds of correspondences, like the Elemental Divination uses elements and the relationship between them, but you can kind of, you can relate dice and numbers to different kinds of sets of associations and make really interesting combinations that way. So that's what I like about dice. I also read geomancy, and sometimes I read geomancy using dice. I have another set of dice for that, but I also use geomancy sticks, which I think I've shown on my channel before. These are 4 sticks that are the same. Sometimes you see them as called druid sticks, but I'm not sure where that came from. They have a single line on one side and 2 on the other, because each geomancy figure, there are 16 of them, is 4 rows of either 1 dot or 2 dots, so all of the different combinations that are possible. So there's different tools you can use to generate geomancy. You could use sticks like this. You could use dice. There are kind of geomancy dice specifically that are on a kind of stick with 4 in a row, and you spin them together, and that generates the geomancy figure with odds and evens. I love geomancy for yes/no answers with nuance. I love geomancy for general forecast. I use geomancy at the beginning of every sun sign season to do a kind of Pisces season ahead, for example, forecast, because a geomancy reading looks at the 12 houses as 12 places or areas of life. So it can give a really, nice, thorough, insightful kind of overview forecast of things to look out for in the time ahead. I like geomancy to answer specific questions about how something might come about. So I think that geomancy is a very versatile system that can answer a lot of types of questions in really clear ways. And for a yes/no, geomancy would be my preference, and also maybe playing cards, which I'm working on learning. This is Kelly Fitzgerald's Nelly stack. So this isn't quite playing cards. It has major arcana in it with these key, but it has a full playing card deck in it. It has a full Lenormand deck in it as well. So I like playing cards. I like playing cards for yes/no. I like playing cards so increasingly actually, and I'm going to do a deep dive with this deck. I'm taking the Nelly's class right now for Nelly's deck. I really like playing cards increasingly for my morning kind of day ahead forecast. Playing cards are fun, and playing cards are something that I've put off learning for a long time because several of my grandmother's siblings were playing card readers, like as their profession, and so there's a particular kind of ancestral feeling to playing cards for me that gives them a particular kind of weight, I think, and it makes them a little bit, not intimidating is the wrong word, but like learning them is not something that I wanted to take lightly, and I'm working on that now, and I feel like playing cards are coming really naturally to me, which I'm just happy about. I'm having such a good time. I'm having such a good time with playing cards. I also have, and I swear I'm not like Kelly Fitzgerald's advertiser or something. I do have her Journey tokens, which there's a Journey Oracle deck that is this shape, this hexagonal shape, but there's also this token option. And I really like using these because casting is fun and casting cloths are fun and interpreting placements is fun. Ogam, is a casting system ultimately as well. I really like that. And, the question asks about oracular systems, astrology. For me, astrology is divinatory as well. So that's lots of other oracular systems that I enjoy. And question number 7 is the final question. What solidified your connection with tarot. So my first deck, which was the Jonathan D. Tarot pack, possibly the worst deck for any person to get as their first, because it's a Marseille Smith-Waite mashup that doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. That deck was gifted to me by my grandma and my mom, and it was gifted to me by them knowing that I wanted a deck. And so from the beginning, there was a solidification through family connection, we would say, even though that deck is kind of ridiculous. I still have it, but not the best beginner deck. I think really ultimately two things solidified, I would say, my connection to tarot. One was and is just that experience of doing readings that's perpetually affirming how well these systems work. The experience of reading tarot, even as a very beginner learner, and experiencing that sense of, wow, like these are the right cards for this question. This is helpful. This works. That experience never going away. That has solidified my connection with tarot, certainly, and continues to do that over and over. The other thing that has solidified my connection with tarot is finding decks like Thea's Tarot, finding decks like the Fifth Spirit Tarot, finding decks that I experience as relatable, that represent me, that I can find myself in, that I can find my communities and family in. That came late for me in my tarot journey, I would say. And it's life-changing. I think that I would have been a more serious student of tarot, a better tarot reader earlier in my tarot journey had I found decks that felt relatable, that represent the world as it is, that feel like I can connect to them. That has solidified my connection, and that's what my tarot collection is full of now, and I'm really happy about that. So that's Tarot 7 Connection. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks, Krista, for tagging me. I'm not going to tag anyone in particular. If you want to do this tag, please do. And if you want to share your answer to any one kind of particular question in the comments, please do. I'm always happy, of course, to chat tarot. I will see you again soon. Thank you again to Marilyn at Tarot Clarity as well for starting this tag, and other folks who've done VRs that I've enjoyed watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.